So what's going on, man? How you feeling?
Good. I'm good. I'm happy to be here.
All right. All right, that's what's up, man. Happy to have you here definitely today from the book. This is one of my guys, y'all. His name is Michael Lawrence. He's going to introduce himself, but I mean, I got familiar with Michael when he joined my Patreon. Well, how long you been on my Patreon?
In a year now.
About a year. Okay. We've been doing about, oh, so you was in the beginning. Okay. Okay. So this is my guy, Michael. I've known him for about a year in the Patreon, and I've seen tremendous growth from Michael. And this is one of the stages that we're talking about. He just finished his book. It's called The Awakening. I suggest y'all get it. But I wanted to, I approached Michael on this interview because I wanted to just, see where his mind was at in his book and what his motivations are, because this book, for y'all who have not read it or don't know who he is, it is amazing. And I felt like it's going to be a bestseller and a movie. And I want y'all to go get this book, because if anybody's on that journey, this is that book to read. I wanted you to introduce yourself, Mike. Just let people know who you are, man.
All right. Well, definitely, most definitely. Again, my name is Michael Lawrence Jr. Born and raised here in Georgia. I was born in Warner Robins, Georgia. Grew up in LaGrange, Georgia. Um, Pretty much, I work as a counselor right now at Stringfellow Elementary School because the kids are my love. I'm all about the kids, and pretty much, what got me to wanting to really write a book. I love anime. I love anime. I love a good story, and I've always been drawn to anime animations that have a good story. And one of the books that really, really, really put me on this journey was The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. And when I read that book, something inside of me started talking to me, because I always wanted to write a book since I was a child, but I never thought anyone would be interested in my book. I used to write characters out. I used to draw designs out. I used to have their backstories and everything from start to finish. But something inside of me was just like, nobody's ever going to want to read these characters. No one's ever going to want to do it. So when I was in high school, I took all those characters and all those ideas and I just trashed them. And I never looked back. And then I started to come back to that when I graduated from college at Fort Valley State. When I graduated, I started doing it again. And then that idea came and was like, no one's going to want to read these. But this time I didn't trash them. I just put them away. I just put them away, but I didn't look at them no more. So pretty much working in the school system, I come across like a lot of young black boys, just a lot of boys in general who have gone through the same thing that I went through as a child. They don't feel like they were loved. They don't feel like that they have any meaning. They feel like they're on a path and no one's really listening to them. They're not really having any way. They don't really have any insight on what they're here for. And I come into a lot of boys like this. They just want to find their meaning in life. They want to find their purpose. So when I started writing this book, it all started first with a painting. When this whole COVID hit, it started with a painting. And then when I looked at the painting, something started talking to me. And it was like, this could turn into a book. And this book could really help somebody. Because then I started looking at my life and I was like, what would I have done if I would have read the book that I wrote? What would I have done if I had this kind of information? If I had someone putting me on this path, someone helping me to discover the best version of me that's inside of me, that was always inside of me from the beginning. So, starting to write the book, I just got really, really into detail with it. And I started taking a little bits and pieces of my life and just of everyone else that I came in contact with. And I started writing a story. And then in that story, you find that it starts off with a young man who didn't know what to do with his life to I am life.
Mm,
Everything is me. And now I have a clear vision of what I have to do.
mm, mm.
Beautiful.
Yeah, that basically is what the book is, like, y'all, like, but to me it's more inspiring than many other books that 'cause I don't really read for entertainment. This is probably the first book that I've read for entertainment. And I might not want to use that word, because more of enlightenment is the word I want to use. But I don't really read books. I really just read books for knowledge. And this is the first book that I've read that was like a movie while I was reading it, and it's a straight page turner. You know, this. Now, let me ask you a question, because I saw a lot of things in there that I know you learned from this year, from the experiences. So tell me, what gave you the motivation for a lot of your characters in the book and the elements that they use? I'm just curious.
Oh man, okay. So with some of the characters in the book, I'll go ahead and let everyone know. The book is the main focus on the seven chakras, right?
Mm,
And the seven chakras are Muladhara, Savasthana, Manipura, Anahata, Vijuna, Ajna, and Sahasrara, right? And pretty much when I started learning about the seven chakras like a while ago, I just started looking into them and seeing what parts of the body do they go in correspondence with, right? And so then while writing the book, I would go back and relook at that and I'll try and figure out, okay, how can I tie this in to make it make sense to where I can bring in the elements? And then I remember as a child, I love the Avatar. And
mm,
the Avatar came to mind, and I was like, the Avatar. How did that storytelling go? And now it's like, okay, now how can I make it different to where it can tell a story, entertain, but also educate? So when I was designing the characters, when I was like getting them together, I was trying to figure out like, okay, I want this character to be presented in this way, and I want them to go in correspondence with this element. Why this element? Well, I can't really say why. I want people to read the book. Why? But I want them to have this element because this element represents a specific part of the body,
mm,
and why you should understand this element, why you should want to get to know this element or this chakra.
mm.
So, and even when it comes to other characters in the book, it was really just like, because okay, so one character that everybody keeps getting confused with who have read the book is the main character.
Mm.
They always think that I'm the main character because a lot of me is the main character, but I'm not
Yeah.
the main character.
Hmm. Yep.
I wanted people to be grabbed by someone who they can become familiar with.
Hmm.
If that means using a little bit of myself, but I don't want you to envision me. I want you to envision somebody else. That's why I didn't use my name. I use somebody else's name.
Hmm.
So when it comes to the main character, I just wanted him to be the person to where it's like, okay, let me envision a young black man going through this life, going through, or not even black man, for some, just vision a young man going through this life and going through his struggle, through his depression, going through a lot. And then at the end of it, he's coming out on top. He's looking within, getting to know these chakras, getting to know these elements that have been always in his body. And then just to come to find out, like, this has been me the whole time. This is me. I've been sad for what reason? I've been low for what reason? I understand now why. So all that just went into the character development. I wanted them to all just go together.
Mm. Yeah, I do see that, and I saw some things that were you, and then I saw some things that were something a little different. That so I saw what you were doing. You obviously use from own experience, and you put things in there that make it that resonate with you. So that makes sense for the main character. What were your motivations for using Egyptian and Anunnaki history in there?
And let me tell you, when I started learning about Egyptian history and I started learning about Anunnaki and all that, I fell instantly in love with it. I don't
Mhm.
know why, but I, to this day, am in love with learning about ancient Egyptian history, ancient Kemet history, Anunnaki history, because it's like that's a piece of me that was gone, that was lost, and not just me, to like a lot of people who look like me.
Mm.
And then pretty much I was like, dang. And this goes to the beginning of the book. If I can tell a story that talks about this history and then in some way somehow it grabs their attention to want people to go and do their own research after reading this book, I've achieved something. Because a lot of people don't know about their history. A lot of people don't know about Egyptians. A lot of people don't know about. I'm not gonna say certain names because certain names are in the book because they that's the name I want you to go research on. But
Yeah.
you learn about certain figures and learn that they had this spiritual side of them. It pulls you into them, and then you start learning more about them. And it's like, what? This was where we come from. This is who we used to be. And I was like, there's got to be a story. And then when you start looking around, looking all over the world, there are no stories like this.
Mhm.
They're never out there. So this is the perfect time to put it into a story so it can even grab the youngest of the youngest child so they can even know themselves, like, this is where you come from and this is what you should know.
Yeah, I got it's funny because I read it again, right? I read it again, and this time I even read it faster because I got the whole copy at one time this time, right? you know, I liken it to the never ending story vibe. When
Mm,
you're reading it, and if you have any knowledge on your Egyptian heritage or you have any knowledge of self, you kind of feel like it's you. It's like, damn, that's me right there, right? Because I felt like that. I'm like, damn, that's me. That's my story. I felt like that, right? And this is a good feeling because one thing I feel about that book is it gives you a motivation to first, if you're not following the lessons that are taught in there, if you follow them, you'll get results immediately. I'm not going to tell you what lessons so y'all can read the book, but there are things that the main character Virgil did that you need to be doing right now, people. And if you do those things, you're going to start to feel and see what he started to feel and see. You see, um, it's incredible because I definitely got a never ending story feeling. Not the whole plot and everything, just like when the kid was reading the book and he felt like he was. I'm not. Are you familiar with that movie?
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Okay, so he felt like he was a trail, that was him. And when you read the book, it's like, damn, that is me. And I've never had that vibe when I read a book before, you know? So it's definitely something that I feel like you're anticipating the next thing that's going to happen. So it's heavy on anticipation that has that movie vibe to it because you want to know what's around the corner and you can't stop reading because you don't feel like waiting to find out what's around the corner. So I really personally enjoy it to the highest degree because it was one of the best books that I read. This is in my top 10 for sure.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I will say this. I will say this. When working on this book, there were certain parts in the book to where it did make me emotional writing it because a lot of experiences are me. And when I was writing the book, I start to envision now with me sharing my experience, is this going to touch someone to where they can relate and they can see how not me, but the character was able to get through those experiences? How did this character do it? How was he able to get through that experience? And why was he holding on to that experience for so long and it was dragging him down?
Mm,
And that's why, and I'll just say this: the book deals with going through past trauma, going
mm,
through things you never let go, going through things that you never came to terms with, and just going and finding that dark side that you never wanted to acknowledge. It acknowledges all of that, but it
mm,
also lets you know, like, this is what happens when you start acknowledging that other side that you've been running from so long.
mm.
This is what happens when you actually take the time to start looking within. Like the whole book is about taking time, sitting back, stop looking around what's going around you, and look what's going on inside of you.
That's true.
Um,
That's absolutely true. Because this whole thing on this planet is about going within. And once you conquer within, the world outside is really not that big like you thought it was. And the main character realized that, and throughout all the trials that he went through, like it was very creative what you did of the way he went through it, and the chakras and the cat. That's my shit. Because I got a cat like that. And it's just like, wow, man, you went into the power of the cat, you know. People
because
don't
the
realize
crazy
they
thing
have power.
is, my brother, he was reading the book, and where I used to stay in Warner Robins at this apartment complex, and there are nothing but cats around there.
Mm,
And one of the cat that I described, the Kima,
mm-hmm.
she was the inspiration for the cat in the book because she was
Really?
kind of like always around watching the apartment complex. Like, and I know some people look at it like that's a stray cat, but it's kind of like when you know about cats, when you actually know what cats do, it's kind of like how she moved, how she wandered around. It's just kind of like she knows, cats knows things. You know what I'm saying? So she was inspiration. So when he saw her, he took a picture. He was like, this can't be it. I was like, yep, she's still there. Yep, see? So yeah, that was inspiration for the cat. And the cat, it just made sense.
So okay, so in that part, you used to live with your brother?
Yes, he used to be my roommate.
That's like the situation with Cole. I
Yeah.
got you. Okay.
And
I
he
got
asked, he was like, "Is that?" I'm like, "No, no, no, no,
you. Yeah.
oh, it's not
Yeah.
you."
That's what's up, man. Like I tell y'all, man, when I first met Mike, he wasn't like this. He wasn't like this. He was different, and throughout the time of you know, breaking the knowledge down and having our Zooms and pulling that person out, it got a book out of him. He got a book out of him, got more confidence in himself. And who knows by reading that book what it can do for you, because I know that this week was one of the tougher weeks of the year, for me. And I got lost in the book, and it gave motivation. Like, no matter what happened this week, my attitude was incredible. Like, and I went through something traumatic this week, and my attitude is incredible still, because it's not that serious. You have to learn from whatever lesson you go through in life, and whatever test is in front of you, accept it as a test. Adversity brings out the best in you, and this character went through tremendous amount of adversity to be able to overcome it. But if he didn't go through it, how would he know? How would he know what he's capable of? How would he know? You know, how would he know? And through these lessons, if you follow some of these steps that Michael writes about in these books, I'm telling y'all, you will start to understand what many people talk about when they mean about going within and growing and changing the person that you were. Because, like he said, y'all, he said that he wrote down characters and backstories on them, and he threw them out. Now, I'm gonna tell you right now, it's not normal to write characters and just write backstories on them. That's a writer. That's a writer. That writers do that. You know what I mean? And you couldn't see that at the particular point, but now you see it, and you got a book. You got a book out of that. It's that's dope to me. That's dope.
Like thinking back on it now, where I am now, I think like, dang, I was in middle school. Just I had a whole book of just characters. Like every day, I would just be like in school, just writing characters. Had a whole backstory, whole journey. Like I will already have everything from start to finish. Like
Mm,
different things, just different characters, stories, and all that. But it got to a point to where I let myself talk myself down.
mm,
I want you read the book and so you'll figure out who I'm talking about.
yep.
I talk myself down and I threw it out.
Mm,
I threw it out. But for some reason, now that I've been where I am now, I'm in a different mental state. I now see that that was just the spirit side of me, just showing me what I was already gifted with at a young age.
yep.
It goes back to that inner child. It goes back to that inner child. Your inner child already knows what your gifts are, but we
Yep.
neglect it. So I had to go back to that inner child to figure out what my gift was, and now I love it.
Yeah.
Like now I'm just going to let the world know, like, hey, this ain't the end. This is not the end. I already got a lot typed up already.
Really, really.
Yeah,
So you're working on your next one already.
I'm already working on it.
That's love.
Already working on it.
That's love. Yeah,
Like
because this one was for sure a page turner, and I'm telling you, man. I know a lot of Black people don't like to read too much. For fun and learning. This is both. You're gonna learn and you're gonna have fun, and you're gonna feel like, because the visuals that has to take place in your mind to understand what's going on in this book it makes you think, it makes you visualize and use a different part of your brain. So you're basically watching a movie as you're reading at the same time. So that is definitely what it is. So if you like to watch movies and like to watch this type of stuff, and you're into knowing who you are, you're going to be using a lot of visuals from yourself in that book. It's going to come to life in your hands. I guarantee it.
and the whole time writing it, I did envision a movie. I had to, because when I envision it like that, when I bring it to life like that, it makes more sense in the book to me. So that's
Mm,
why I was able to be creative with it, because I already saw it as if it was real.
mm-hmm.
Beginning to fin, especially, I got so creative with the last few chapters. Chapters 5 to the end, I just let my creativity take over. So for those who aren't used to like using that creative side, I just say take a step back and just let that creativity flow inside of you and just envision, because I went in on those last few chapters. I just let it out. I let it out.
Yeah, actually, it's funny. What's the chakra's name? The Ajna.
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 Yeah.
The what happened with Ajna was like the avatar effect. So I can see what you're talking about with the avatar. I can like, okay, that's where he got that from. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
you know what? I feel like it's a part two coming up.
Oh yeah. Oh
I
yeah.
do.
Oh,
Because now he in his bag now. So we gotta find out. I got some questions. I got many questions. I'm like, all right, so I need to know this, I need to know that. So I gotta know.
oh
I,
yeah.
I gotta know.
It's gonna be this book is gonna take you on a long journey. Not just this one, but the many books to come. We're about to go on a really, really good journey. I've already seen the end of it, and it's
Really.
gonna be an amazing, amazing journey. As long as you stick with it, you are gonna be so satisfied and so happy at the end, and you're gonna learn so much.
That's what's up.
It's
That's
gonna
what's up.
be good. I'm more. I think I'm more excited than anyone else because it's like I get excited doing stuff like this because it's like I said, I've always been into anime, being into just stuff to grab my attention, creativity, and the fact that I'm doing this makes me excited. This
This is
makes me oh
living in your bag. You in your bag. I used to always say, find what you do good, and you can figure out in this particular day and time how to monetize it and have fun at the same time, where you don't even feel like you're doing any work. This is something that you love to do. You have a set of skills in the avatar body that resonate with you, and now you're tapping into them, and then you're having fun. You're having fun, and the fact that you work with children, you work with kids, young men, and things of that nature. Like, I'm gonna let my sons read this book. This is gonna be a great book for my sons to read because this is a great book that's gonna like. It's very difficult to find books that talk about these type of things for kids. That can really get your mind involved to challenge it, but to so you can understand it. Because somebody who might be watching this that don't really know too much about chakras or Egypt, it's gonna help you understand them. Just so you know, in a very simplistic way. Yes.
yep. Because I got the confirmation when I was at my school, right? Because like I said, I started off with a painting, and I put that painting on in my classroom wall at my gifted school. And one of my students walked in, and he looked up. He was like, "The Awakening," and I turned and looked. I was like, "Oh yeah, that's a painting that I did." He was like, "Something about it looks very interesting." He was like, "Is that a book?" I was like, "No, why?" He was like, "Oh, because if that's a book, I'll definitely read it." I was like, "Really?" He was like, "Yeah, I don't know what it is about it, but I'm feeling that painting. If it was a book, I'll definitely read it." And I was like, that was my confirmation right there. And that was January this year after I had already finished typing the entire book.
So you painted this.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so
I
okay,
painted what I painted the pyramids and the sky and pretty much
okay,
sent it to an illustrator and
okay.
I said, "Hey, this is," and I sent him an example of what I was envisioning. And I was like, "I need you to make this look as real as possible."
Who's that on the cover?
I can't tell you. you you should if you well you've read the book, so in the sky those are the ones you meet at the end of the book.
Mm-hmm.
End of the book.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Got you. Got you.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Absolutely. Absolutely.
All that and all this right here, and I like how they did this because all this right here is pretty much, especially with the stars in the sky representing the
Yeah, I
chakra,
like that.
all
I like that.
subliminal. If you get to the end of the book, it's like I see where how it's very subliminal to me.
Mm-hmm. I can see it. I can see it, and at the end, the journey that he's on now is like it's like the end, like his master said, but just the beginning for both of them. So that was pretty dope too, how one went back to this and the other went to this. And wow, because I'm like, dang, this could be actually two stories in one because I want to know what happened over there where his master went, like where he going, what's
See,
over there, you know?
too far ahead because it's there. The story's
Yeah,
already there. It's to see
yeah,
you finished it. You already know. You already
yeah.
know. See, it's
Uh-huh.
already there, and don't worry, all that's gonna be answered. It's gonna get really,
Right,
really,
right.
really good.
Yeah, man. That's love. That's love.
Mhm.
Anything that you want to tell the people, to think about before reading this book or just to get their headspace in a right spot.
Well, first and foremost, I want to say this: when reading the book, you're going to come across certain things. You're going to come across certain crystals that are mentioned, certain herbs that are mentioned, and just different types of things. The reason that it's like that is because I want people to be able to go, I want to know more about this. I might not have an understanding. Like today, my pops, he was asking me, he was like, how do you say certain these names? Where do these names come from? See, I'm like, I want you to go look them up. I want you to go find them yourself. I don't want to always give you the answer. I want you to go find the answer and do it yourself, and then come back and then we discuss. So when you come across certain herbs, certain crystals, and all that, just take the time out if you want to know more, because they do like they say they do. Especially shout out to Coach right now. Shout out to In10sity Fitness. A lot of the herbs I speak of, check Coach out. You can't find the best haritaki nowhere else. I'm telling y'all, king of the medicine right there. But check out the herbs, check out the crystals, and just do some more deep diving. Okay. But other than that, this book right here, like I said, I made a post. This book is my baby. Okay. I started off with just painting, and now I have a whole book in my hand. This is like literally my child, and I'm giving it to the world. And pretty much, I know that it might not impact certain people, but it's going to impact that one. And as long as it gets that one, I know this book did something, especially the one that can look in themselves and be like, that's me. Like how you said, that's me. I got you. Because this book was for you.
Yeah.
This book was for you. And you got the message that the book was trying to educate to you. And that's really where I'm going with this book. And not only that, this is allowing me to express my creative talents. This is allowing me to express some things. I've had a lot of built up knowledge and the built up creativity stored in me. Now it's my time to just finally get it out.
That's
So
love.
yeah, so but to everyone else who has already bought the book, I love and appreciate everybody. Like for real, like I appreciate all of y'all. Y'all. At first I was nervous because this is my first time really doing this. I didn't really think, like I said, I went back to that kid who thought nobody wanted to read anything. But now I said, you know, I'm just gonna do it. And I did it. And the fact that it's already receiving so much love and I'm getting so much positive feedback is really warming my heart. And it just showed that I made the right move.
You did.
The right move.
You did. Remember, I was getting mad. I'm like, yo, bro, where the rest of that book, yo? I'm like, yo, where the rest of the book? Don't you get me started like that. You know, that's like a tease. I'm like, you tease me, man. That's so now you're gonna have a bunch of people asking you, all right, where's part two?
Oh yeah. Hey, I'm letting
coming.
Part two's coming.
Yeah.
I can't wait to let y'all know. Let everyone know now how part two is gonna go. It's gonna go in a different route, and you just gotta stick with it. But it's still gonna have that same feel to it. Still that same message and everything behind it. But it's gonna be like, I don't know why I'm more excited about part two than I was part one. Because part two, it's like I vision it and get like different downloads every day on how it's going, and it just makes me so excited. Like I really want to start writing, but I'm like, not yet. Because when I start writing, I'm gonna go in. But I'm just so excited to tell this next story. Like part two is about to be amazing.
That's what's up, man. I can't wait to see what comes out of your mind. I really can't, because I'm telling y'all, people, go get this book. Go get this book for sure. Yeah, man.
Yeah,
Can they
appreciate.
find you anywhere on social media?
Say that again.
Can they find you anywhere on social media? Because I'm going to put the link
Yeah.
in my description after this video.
Yeah.
So I'll put the link, so anybody you need, the book is going to be in the
Find
description.
me on Instagram at Mike Law Jr. I'll send that to you just so
Okay.
you can have it. And then you can, of course, find me on Facebook, Michael Lawrence Jr., right there as the book. Find me, reach out to me, let me know. I know some people said they don't want to buy the book off of Amazon. They want to actually come to me personally. So I'm in the process of trying to get a bulk load of books. So if anyone wants an already signed copy of the book, just let me know, email me, message me, and I'll make sure I get a book to you signed and everything. Don't worry, yours is still coming, Coach. I already got you
Got you.
covered.
For sure. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I just want to thank you for trusting in, in yourself, and hearing the things that we had to say to you in the beginning of getting to know you, because a lot of people in the Patreon, you hear things that I say in the way I say them and they run. And I'm glad that you didn't run and you took it a step further. It even came to the men's retreat. And you had a breakthrough there as well. So I'm glad that that you you know you took the advice of the men and you opened yourself up, because by doing this now you can help other men as well, as you've been doing, you know, through your talents and things of that nature. That's what I was always talking about. You know, go research it. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, yeah. I ain't gonna give you the answers. You could give me the answers. I like that. That's what I'm talking about, man.
That's a master net approach.
Yeah, man. I love it. I love it, man. I love it. Definitely.
All that goes back to that superior man, that king mentality that you got to build. It's not easy, but once you learn about it, start applying it, it becomes easy.
Absolutely. Absolutely. A
Yeah.
man who knows himself is a man that can't be messed with. You know, once you know yourself, and hopefully this book will put a lot of you men and women on a path to know themselves, because by knowing yourself is the greatest freedom that you can ever achieve in this reality that you live in, setting you up for the next. And that's just the beginning as well, like the book says.
Yep.
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 Absolutely.
Hey, that's love right there. But I will say this, like it was, I don't know why, but if I haven't been able to feel, well, I wasn't able to feel like the happiness or excitement when I first published the book on April 2nd. It didn't hit me yet, but I think it finally hit me when I was walking to school, and then a lot of my students, they were like, "You published a book?" I was like, "Yeah, I just published my first book." And I had one of my fifth graders. He came up and he was like, "I want that." I was like, you want this? I want the book. He was like, I want that book. I was like, you sure? I'll read it. If you give me a copy, I'll read that book. I don't know why, but that made that point right there is where I started to feel the happiness. That's where I started to feel the warmth. And I was like, that's what I was looking for.
You know why? Because you're here for the kids. Like you always just say, like your thing is the kids. And when you got a that's a 10-year-old walking up to you saying, "Let me get that book," with all the distractions these 10-year-olds have to go ahead and do, which a lot of them are doing, that kid wants to read your book, which is probably going to change the course of their lives. You know?
Yep.
That's incredible. Yeah.
And I feel great now. I feel amazing.
That's incredible. That's how it works, man. Each one teach one. That's how it works.
Yes, I'm gonna keep on moving on up.
Absolutely. You know, and I can't wait for part 2 to come out, and anybody, I'm gonna leave everything in description, all his information, how to get the book, and stay tuned. If y'all want to talk to him or come in the Patreon with us and build like we do, come on in the Patreon, men and women. We building, he in there, we talking, we building upon things that he wrote in the book on other levels too. Like we're all over the place with it. So been doing this for a year. He's one of my first Patreons, came in the beginning, and look, the dude's writing, cranking books out now. Like, come on, y'all. Like, come on now. That's how we do it. That's what we do. We grow, we build,
Definitely.
That's what I'm talking about, man. Yeah. So we're gonna end it here, but I'll probably be interviewing again on your next book.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
For sure.
I was waiting on this. I've been waiting all week on this interview. I've been waiting all week on this, so I'll be definitely waiting on the next.
Absolutely, absolutely, man. Listen, we go get out of here.
Right.
Everybody, we'll see y'all. All right.
All right now. Peace.